Hello everyone. So I speak for InfloRef, which is the Belgian partner in the European project Chemistries All Around network. And since InfloRef is mainly dedicated to ICT in education, the topic of ICT has been the main focus of our group of teachers during the project. So I'll describe the main experiments that we conducted for the project. But before that, I will begin with an overview of ICT in French-speaking Belgian schools. According to an official survey from last year, while there's been some progress in recent years, Walloon schools are behind in terms of ICT equipment as compared to the European average, with a notable lack of mobile equipment. This has an influence on teachers' use, although it's not the only factor. So you can see the numbers. The survey pinpoints several measures that should be implemented to improve the situation. The first one, developing and improving the network infrastructure, which includes an internet connection for every classroom. 2, raising the number of connected computers. Schools already have many desktop computers, but they should be better equipped in mobile material, such as laptops or tablets. 3, training and assisting teachers to an educational use of ICT. Research has shown that confidence is even more important than the available material in teachers' use. Therefore, it's necessary to raise teachers' confidence so that they can use ICT adequately in their lessons. 4, creating favorable conditions to command ICT in school. For instance, training resource people who will provide assistance to teachers without replacing them and giving those people a status. 5, setting up a narrow cooperation between the people active in digital development. And finally, fostering the creation of digital resources and expertise sharing, for example, through call to projects and support to initiatives. Of the measures I've just listed, the last one is particularly relevant to this project. One such call to project is called École Numérique, which literally means digital school. It's the best example of official initiative to promote ICT and innovative methods in schools. It focuses on projects based on an innovative use of ICT in the educational approach and on teacher training. The axes are the following: teacher training, evaluation of ICT use in education, and experimentation of ICT-supported methods and tool sharing. 2 schools participating in the project Chemistries All Around network were selected to carry out sequences in chemistry, integrating experiments and the interactive whiteboard. These experiments were part of the activities of the project. I'll now move on to the experiments we conducted. In the framework of the project Chemistries All Around, several teaching resources have been tested and evaluated by students and teachers. I will address here the 2 most interesting. The first one is called PHET. This is the most significant test carried out with secondary school students. It's a website that contains nearly 40 simulations in chemistry and more in other sciences. It's freely available online. Each animation ends with a quiz to assess knowledge acquisition. 3 animations were tested with the students of Collège Sainte-Véronique in Liège. The topics were balancing chemical equations, build an atom, and isotopes and atomic mass. Thanks to the animations, students could better understand chemical concepts through visualization of the microscopic level and using different approaches. The animations were used to reinforce subjects seen previously in theoretical lessons. For 2 of the animations, the students had each an individual computer and discussions were allowed. And for the 3rd one, there was one teacher acting as the teacher, one student acting as the teacher who animated the class. The students were between 14 and 17, and they were English immersion classes, so they used the resources and evaluated them in English. Here are some of the quotes of the students. The first one, said it's funny to learn because we're playing, but we still learn. So it raises one of the topics of the project, which was students' motivation. The second one, so it's like a real course, but we are the teacher because we do the job. So it showed that everybody participated actively in the lesson. And the third one, we're easily talking and helping each other, and we can illustrate what we're saying with the website. So that's again one of the goals, to foster cooperation between the students in the class. And those quotes are quite representative of the whole. And they show that this resource met the purpose of the project, which was to raise motivation to study chemistry. The second experience is a learning sequence called Discovering the Chemical Reaction. The sequence and all the material were produced by a teacher involved in the project called Divna Brajkovic in collaboration with Info-Ref, which designed the tools and trained the teachers to use them. It associates the experimental approach, animations, concrete and virtual modeling, and the use of ICT. And this, what's happening? Does it work? Okay. So it's normally addressed to 15-year-old students, but it was tested with future science teachers. The lesson starts with a video made especially for the sequence. It shows a magic trick where a witch makes an object disappear in a solution. After seeing the video, the students write and compare ideas on the interactive whiteboard. They make hypotheses and create models of the reagents using objects and animations. And the animations are used to illustrate the dynamics of the phenomenon. To confirm the hypothesis, the students propose a written experimental approach and they conduct the experiment. They then analyze the investigation in a table with the macroscopic, microscopic and symbolic level. After the lesson, the students are assessed on the skills they acquired and complete a questionnaire about what they learned during the sequence. This questionnaire concerns scientific content as well as ICT skills. And the students could provide their feedback through a questionnaire on the learning platform Moodle. When asked about what they learned, most students answered how to use the interactive whiteboard or further applications of the whiteboard. And while they were older than the target audience, some said that it also helped refresh some notions in the topic of the chemical reaction. And all the students, well, most of them considered that the sequence was well organized and stimulating, and that it helped understand the topic of the chemical reaction. There's a third very interesting experiment that involved a comparison between Belgian and English users. I won't go over it now because it will be the object of another presentation later by the author. And finally, there's another positive outcome of the project. The building of the Chemistries All Around Network project. We launched a new project called TIS Science. It's a local project based on the working group TIC Chimie that we gathered for the project Chemistries All Around. It's made up of secondary school teachers, higher education professors, internship supervisors and future teachers who identified, tested and evaluated resources for the project chemistry. We started on the observation that while there's an increasing number of interactive whiteboards in schools, few resources fully use the potential of the whiteboard, but particularly its interactivity. Therefore, the idea of this project is to build new sequences adapted to teachers' needs and using various ICT tools. The sequences will concern chemistry, physics and biology for middle and upper secondary schools. The activity started last month and are structured in 5 phases. The first one, which is ongoing, consists in the creations of the resources. They will be tested by the members of the working group with their students. And teachers and students will evaluate them on the platform Moodle with questionnaires, a forum, a chat, and a space to upload prototypes. The sequences will then be adapted based on the evaluations and eventually made available on a dedicated website that will be next year in June. And grazie per l'attenzione.